Hi everybody. Are you tired of having your snare drum sound like this? Let's help you with that. Hi, Will Andrews from West Coast Drum Shop in Bellevue, Washington. We tune hundreds of drums here for our shop and for customers on a regular basis. And we thought we'd give you a quick little tutorial on how to make your snare drum sound awesome. So, what I got is a snare drum that I grabbed from the shelf. We don't really have to name what it is, right? It could be any old drum. Here's what I like to do to tune a drum. Quickly, efficiently. First thing I like to do is to hit the drum and see where we're at, right? So, to me, I hear lots of warbly notes in there and a very kind of blatty, sort of not defined snare sound. To my ear, doesn't sound like I'd want to use it in this type of a setup. Somebody might love this snare drum sound, so I'm not talking smack about it, but I'm going to try something different personally, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is check the resonant side head tension. And if you can see, it's pretty squishy. And this is what we find most snare heads, bottom side heads are kind of set up with when you get a snare drum out of the box, or maybe you get something used. They're just squished. I mean, they're thin, they stretch out a lot, and sometimes you just got to really crank them up to get the drum to respond and resonate more. So there's a couple things you can do. You can just go for it, right? You can take a drum key and just start doing half turns around the drum. Notice how I'm going in kind of that crisscross pattern where you cross over to one side, skip to the next rod, but you don't want to take, well, you can, but you don't want to typically take one rod and just start cranking it all the way up, right? You want to go incrementally, kind of like you're putting on a spare tire, right? You want to distribute even tension around the drum head. So I've been tensioning everything up, and I'm going to squish the head a little bit. Feels firmer, but from experience, I can tell that this is still pretty loose. So I think the drum head was way, way loose to begin with. So I'm going to keep going. So let's just hit the drum after that. Better snare response, but our warbles are still in there. So that just means that our batter head is not evenly tensioned around the drum. We're getting different notes from about 1 inch in from each one of the tension rods, which is causing some issues. So there's a couple things we can do. We can back the head out completely and start from scratch, which is always a recommended thing to do, especially if you're less experienced with tuning. Or you can start trying to match the pitches 1 inch in from each tension rod. And there's a couple of tricks on how to do that. So a couple things you can do is you can take a drumstick or a finger or a mallet and start playing the drum about 1 inch in from each tension rod. And you try to match the pitch of one rod to another rod. So I'm going to take the pitch of this one because I hear the fundamental pitch being lower. I'm going to try to match that to the one that's higher, right? So it's not perfect, but it's closer. Another thing you can do to help you hear the fundamental note coming in from your tension rod is you can lightly mute the drum with the finger in the center of the drum. You don't want to push down because that'll change the pitch dramatically, but just a little touch. It eliminates some of those overtones and allows you to hear those notes a lot more clearly. So these two are pretty close to each other. Now I'm going to keep going around the drum. One of the techniques I like to use is to pick a master tension rod and then use that one to match the others two as you go around. So that one's higher, so I'm going to leave that one alone for now. Not perfect, but we're a lot closer. Let's verify that. We seem to have kind of more like one note coming from the drum rather than 6 or 7, right? So that's what we're looking for. Pitch of the drum to me is a little bit low for my taste, so I'm still going to want to raise the pitch of the drum up while evening out the head as we go around another time. So I'm going to pick another rod, listen for that pitch, mute the center of the drum, start going around to each rod and matching it. Even closer, let's go again. This one seemed to be the lowest out of them all, so I'm just going to give this one a turn. You get to a certain point where you feel comfortable just kind of going around the drum and checking them, and that's where I'm at right now. I should also note I may be going an eighth of a turn to a quarter of a turn max during these little moves here. Let's see what we got. Nice clear note. We have some overtones that are a lot closer together in pitch, so the overall tone of the drum is just a lot sweeter. Nice rim shot. The last part is snare tension, right? So if your snares are too tight, oh, this is maxed out. Look at that. So let's go too loose. Kind of sloppy, not much happening. What the goal is with your snares is to have sensitivity at the edge of the drum, or a clear defined snare sound in the center of the drum without choking. And choking just sounds like you're unable to get a full note out of the drum because the snares are so tight. So to me, that's pretty close, actually. I might back it off just a touch, just to open the drum up a little bit more. We get a longer note, the snares are ringing just a little bit more. So the last thing I'm going to do is, now that I've evened out the head, I feel like I want to drop it just a little bit because it's just, I'm hearing now, I think it's a little bit too high. So I'm just going to take each rod maybe about an eighth of a turn evenly down, and then we'll hit it again to see where we're at. I'm just going to kind of clean it up a little bit. To me, that sounds like a significant improvement over what we started with. So we got a nice snappy snare. We got a drum head that's sitting kind of a medium to tight range. Our bottom head is almost tabletop tight. And the drum seems to be really happy. We've got great tone and great response. So hopefully this is helpful to you. This is just our quick tutorial. We're going to be doing more in-depth tutorials on how to tune other drums, rack toms, floor toms, bass drums. But yeah, stay tuned for more, and I hope you found this to be helpful.